Hello and welcome once again to Crazy Comics and Stories. It's me, your charming and delightful old Uncle Rat Bastard. And at the other end of the series of tubes and wires we call the internets is Joe, Crazy Writer. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm all right. Nobody worry about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Can't you just
Joe,
let me...
knock
shit.
it off.
She's back.
She's back!
Jen came back
hide
the
the
very
booze.
next day. Welcome back,
Joe,
Jen.
quit it.
Hide the booze, everybody.
I can't
hide
practice
your-
my throat singing.
hide your liquor.
Wow. Damn.
Well, yeah, Jin's back
I'm back.
after a little over a month being away.
I know.
Hiding.
I was busy.
She
Whatever.
had important things to do.
There is nothing more important than Crazy Comics and Stories.
Moving to Minnesota.
See?
Okay, I guess that's a little
Yes.
important.
All right.
Now that we have that settled, Strode.
Yeah, now I get to see her face once in a while. Not on my computer screen.
I've been here for, what, two weeks now?
2 whole weeks.
I still haven't seen Joe.
That's because Joe doesn't talk to anybody.
I don't talk to anybody.
Joe, what's your problem? What did I do to you?
Joe, show us on the doll where Jin hit you.
Right over here. See?
You're all about hugging me when I'm drunk at the party. Now that I'm here and sober, you don't want nothing to do with me.
Right. Not till you're drunk.
Well, I'm drinking right now.
Of course, on the plus side, I will see you at the Midwest Comic Book Association Fall Comic Con.
That's still
October
almost a month
10th.
away.
No, what are we at? We're recording the 14th. By the time this drops, it'll be the 21st. It'll be
3 weeks.
almost 3 weeks. October 10th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The one-day wonder. 420 minutes of extreme comic book action. All the guests are up at www.mcbacomiccons.com. They got the, what do you call them? Vendors up, all the fun extras that are happening. They even got advanced ticket sales for those of you who want to save money. Yeah. Just check out. Actually, we probably put a link on our Facebook page. Otherwise, just go to their Facebook page and check it out. Of course, I'm still not off work, so I have no idea if I will be going to it. But that's,
You launched into that in like record time.
I did. I was all over it.
You know, the thing is, if he had anything worth selling, we'd be in a lot of trouble.
I got lots of things we're selling, but we haven't gotten to that segment of the story.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So what have you been up to the last week, Joe?
Well, Dana moved out. So,
is that a good thing?
Well, it depends. I haven't decided if I'm going to relocate this here recording studio to the echo chamber or leave it down next to the Cyclotron 3000, which is currently napping because we actually have some pretty nice weather outside.
It's been amazing.
But during the winter...
Oh, that sucker will churn on like Amish on a butter machine. See, the only problem is if I move upstairs and I got to listen to Cory. Oh, you're echoing. There's a big echo effect. What do we do about the echo? I'm telling you, just can't. I spend $100 on this here mic, and he just bitches about it the whole time.
I don't bitch about the microphone.
You bitch about everything.
No, I
You're
don't.
a born bitcher.
No, I don't. I don't bitch about everything. If you listen to the 206 podcasts that come before this...
I'm bitching right now.
I have plenty of geeking.
He does sound pretty bitchy.
He does. I'm glad you're back, Jen. I mean, the bitchiness is just... Ugh.
I'm happy to be back.
How was your move up?
I have a bit of an echo going on in here because there's like, it's hardwood floors and empty walls and...
But apparently it's cute when you do it.
And 15 desks.
It's all desks. This is my office, so... My move went pretty good. I mean, it was hectic. We get towards the end there, just throwing things into the trailer, but I get here and Butch helped me unpack. Who's my new best friend? I fucking love Butch.
Everybody loves Butch.
And I really wish he was on more because his voice is just amazing, but...
Very soothing.
But no, I'm here. I'm mostly unpacked. Please buy some art from me because there's still a few things I need to get for the apartment, and my refrigerator's mostly empty. So yeah, I'm not used to being poor yet, but I'm sure I'll get there. That's about it. I'm eating a shameful pizza from Target right now.
Wait. You are down the street from one of the best pizza places in the whole known universe, and you're eating from the Target
I
food
said
court.
it was a shameful pizza, did I not?
It's like I don't even know you anymore.
Sometimes you just need shitty pizza, okay? And I was in a hurry. And I'm drinking the vodka Cory made me, which is supposed to taste like grapefruit and actually tastes like grapefruit. So I have asked Cory to please not make me any more vodka. I had to put 3 spoonfuls of sugar in it before I could drink it.
Yes, how dare I make vodka that tastes like the actual fruit it's supposed to taste like. Next time, why don't I just infuse it with gummy bears?
You do that. You soak gummy bears in vodka and they blow up to like 3 times their size and you eat them.
And it's healthy.
I have to go now. I need to go back to the store.
Oh, I thought you meant to the bathroom or something.
No. Joe.
I made 2 kinds of vodka. 2. I made a cranberry vodka, and I made a grapefruit vodka. By the way, the grapefruit vodka is Texas Red Ruby grapefruit.
I appreciate that.
I also still have the cranberries from the cranberry vodka infusion, and I'm wondering if someday I may make you a coffee cake full of vodka cranberries.
The vodka will cook off, though.
No, it won't. That is a myth. Only about a quarter of it will cook off. So you could get drunk for breakfast, and it's kind of healthy.
I can get drunk for breakfast much more efficiently than cranberries stuffed in a coffee cake or whatever you said.
Fine.
just pour your Smirnoff right on the kicks. It's all right. It's all good.
Well, I will admit that I do make fruitcake every year. And most people, when you say fruitcake, they go, oh, God, fruitcake. And that's because people don't know how to make good fruitcake. You know what the secret of good fruitcake is?
Make something else entirely?
No, you spray it with rum every couple of days for about 2 months.
Well, yeah. Okay, so when I was up here before, Joe, when I was here before, there was talk of some kind of coffee cake, and I still haven't gotten this coffee cake. Do you remember that? Because I do. I don't forget.
You were hallucinating.
I was not.
You was.
We were talking about coffee cake. Pecan coffee cake or something?
Banana pecan.
Banana pecan. Yeah, I want that. Why have you not made that for me yet?
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Strode?
Why you make me everything I don't ask for, and the one thing I ask for? You give me, like, these scone things. They're like, what are those? What were those pastry things?
Failed donuts.
He made me some kind of shit that's like, it's like full of cat food.
Well, that's probably the only food he's got left.
It's like this perfectly made pastry. It's like flaky and light and delicious, and you bite into it, and it tastes like cat food on the inside.
It was mushrooms and salmon. And somebody told me they like both those things.
I do like both of those things, and somehow you managed to combine them in a way I do not like. I commend you for your efforts.
Fine, I'll just bring you chicken McMuffins from now on.
Chicken McNuggets, and thank you very much. And banana
Joe,
pecan coffee cake.
Anything I could make for you that you can insult on the air?
Nah.
Now, when Joe invites people over, Joe is a spectacular host. Shall I tell you about the wonderful spread he had at the last time we went over there for a wrestling event?
I won't go to Joe's house.
So we go over there for SummerSlam, and I bring a tray of crudités for those of you who don't know.
It's fucking chopped up vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bring it there, and I lay it out, and Joe says, oh, I got something too. And he brings over 7 bags of chips that are down to just crumbs.
Yep. The girls got a hold of my offering before the guys did.
Puts it on the table,
yep.
And all you can really do is kind of sprinkle it in the ranch dressing that you're using to dip your vegetables in.
And use your finger.
Here you go, guys.
Yep. That was good eating.
So I think next time I'm going to have to bring a little more over because I don't know. Leftover Lyman chips from Lay's isn't exactly my idea of good eating. Well, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, first off, if Jin is drinking.
Hey, whoa, Strode.
What?
We've updated what we've been doing. What have you been doing?
Yeah. What have you been doing?
Staring at the wall.
He hasn't been. He's been
been to your place.
helping me
got
pick
walls.
up furniture and shit.
You got like bookcases filled of stuff. You don't have any walls. They might be load-bearing bookcases. I was scared to move them.
Well, you should be scared to move. My son made them out of cement blocks. So for the first time in a long time, I have now 2 of my spare rooms are now open. They're not full of hobos. They're not full of furniture.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What the flaming blue hell are you doing now, Joe?
You notice how he blames me right away?
That's not Joe, that's me. I was putting my fucking pizza box away, and now I'm eating sour gummy worms.
Sour gummy worms.
For anyone who's listening, if you're coming to FallCon, bring me Kit Kat bars, the original ones, not those fucking white chocolate ones, and sour gummy worms.
How about the green tea ones from Japan?
Not that shit, no. I said the original ones. And also money, because I'm poor.
Yes, Jin will have all sorts of arts there.
Yep.
And maybe even some new the Sharpie drawings.
Yep.
And a hat.
Yep.
And a new case for display and everything.
Yeah, I got my trunk of awesomeness.
She's a true professional once again.
I am a fucking professional.
And on our other side, because Joe and I are going to be at the con if Joe can figure out how to get there, on our other side will be Dangerous Dan Moore. So we need to have him on the show soon.
Yeah, where's Dan?
Where's Dan? Probably having a light.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying. See how I got out of having to say what I'm up to? So what we're going to do, we're going to count down how many drinks Jin has gone through during the show. How many drinks are we up to at this point?
Well, I don't know, because it's a pretty big glass, and I just filled it about a third of the way with vodka and topped it off with cranberry juice.
That sounds like 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like 3 shots worth. I mean, what's a drink, really? Now, I don't mean to get all existential on you, but what is a drink, really?
Well, if you've got an answer as to what a drink is, go ahead and let us know. By the way, Joe, remember when we did the you threw out the Shakespeare/bacon reference?
No.
In our last episode.
Really? Hang on, let me go listen to it.
Okay,
I'm back.
All right. I made a joke about Shakespeare, and Joe made a joke about bacon. And I said I would send a free graphic novel to whoever picked up on that joke. Our old friend and super fan Brian Poindexter, whose video podcast Hey Poindexters is coming back very soon. He was the one who picked up the reference, so he's being sent a copy of World War Kaiju.
Good going, Poindexter.
World War Kaiju, which is one of the coolest graphic novels I've read in a long time.
I could send him a copy that I found as I was going through my archives.
A copy of what?
Crap I drew on my lunch break.
Joe, you motherfucker!
What, you've got 2 of them?
Well, no, apparently Dana dropped it off before she left.
He's a lying liar.
I got it right here.
Shut up, Joe. You do not.
Let's
The
take a
book's
look.
okay, but I think the foreword is the best
Can
part
you
of the book.
PM me Joe's address for no related reason?
Let's see. Blah, blah, blah.
You don't want to try and sneak in. He has attack bunnies.
2003,
I'm not afraid of no fucking rabbits.
2004.
Joe, why do you
Let's
hate
see.
me?
I don't.
What have I done to you?
Well, nothing yet.
Damn straight.
What do you think he's hiding? He's too used to getting smacked around with the umbrella by you.
I am very happy to be here in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
We are very happy to have you here. There were at least 3 nights last week that I was just sitting staring at the wall, and she called up and said, "Hey, Cory, could you come over, buy me food, and lift things?"
Damn straight.
And I, of course, went, "Oh, yeah, no problem."
I would love to hang out with anyone who's willing to buy me food.
Joe has gone silent.
I'm just reading the volume 1 here.
And I'm trying to budget for the gym membership so you can teach me to lift, bro. Then you're really in trouble, Joe.
Mm.
Yeah, and she might even get a real steel umbrella. Maybe even one of those penguin umbrellas that shoots things.
I have a plastic umbrella and a metal one.
Joe still has trauma from the last time you lived here and hit him with umbrellas.
I don't
That's
really
true.
do the whole umbrella thing anymore.
I've never used an umbrella since.
You got umbrella PTSD.
See, this is one of my favorite strips you ever did. It's Cory sitting there. What do you mean I can't be a robot pirate? These rules suck. Titled
God, I'm
Why
having
Cory
to
Doesn't
choke
Play
down
Dungeons
this
and
vodka.
Dragons.
You should mix the cranberry vodka with the cranberry juice.
Well, usually the grapefruit and the cranberry flavors go together really well.
That's because they're probably using some cranberry syrup that's made from apple juice and the tears of children.
No, it's just ocean spray cranberry, but I usually drink like Deep Eddy's grapefruit vodka, and it's not infused. It's actually got like grapefruit juice in the vodka too, and sugar, I guess, because whew. Go on, what are we supposed to be talking about?
Well, are we going to talk comic books?
I didn't get to go to the state fair. That was upsetting.
They have another one next year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and the food next year will probably be even more horrifying.
All right. We're on.
I still need therapy for the kimchi poutine. Oh, God.
You didn't eat any, though.
No, I didn't. I don't go to the state fair. I have to be taken. Because there is nothing more fun than going to a big social event where, you're walking around all by yourself alone and there are cajillions of people. There's nothing I love more than that.
It's even better when it's like fucking hot.
Yeah, when it's like 90-some degrees
Hot as
and
balls.
humid. And
Sweaty balls.
I went one year. My friend Tommy was Uncle Goody on the local midnight horror show where he was the horror host, and he wore a tuxedo and had the long hair and the pancake makeup and the whole thing. And he foolishly said that, oh yeah, I'll go to the state fair. We'll have coffin races. And I went there to see him. So here he is in a full wool tuxedo with white makeup on and all the accoutrements. And it was...
Wait, I wasn't paying attention. Your friend is a juggalo?
No.
Oh.
He was a horror host.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Well, without the Fago.
One's on TV, one isn't.
I saw those in a gas station in like fucking somewhere. And
Fago's awesome because it's cheap.
I almost bought one just because, and then I thought I haven't quite sunk to that level yet, so I passed up.
Well, Jen, just let me know if you get to the point where you're buying generic grape soda. Let me know and I'll put together an intervention. So they put together coffins, and what the coffin race was someone would sit in the coffin and someone else would push it for about 100 yards. And I go there, and the makeup is just streaming with all the sweat, and he looks like death. And I say, I don't think that pushing a coffin in 95-degree weather with 95% humidity was one of your better ideas. He, of course, agreed, and that was one of the reasons why he has not gone to the state fair since. Me, I've gone to the state fair since, but not of my own free will. Shall we talk comic books?
Okay.
Hello?
I'm indifferent.
Joe don't care. I don't care.
Joe don't care.
Joe, do you work tomorrow?
I got to do a webinar.
Webinar.
Didn't get this government cutback. I didn't get the I.
Joe, why aren't you drinking?
Who says I'm not? God, you just assume way, way too much.
Joe, are you drinking?
Of course.
And what are you drinking?
That's none of your fucking business.
Are you going to get hammered?
I don't think so. I don't have that much left.
I wanted to get hammered, but holy shit.
Joe still wants to do where both of you get hammered and I'm the designated
This is gonna
driver.
be an uphill battle.
Fine, I'm going to talk comic books and you guys can come along if you'd like.
Okay.
I was listening to a comic book podcast.
What?
And
You listen to other ones? You slut.
Yes, I do.
Fucking man whore.
I'm telling you.
I listen to a lot of
he's
podcasts.
a pod whore is what he is.
Damn right. I listen to tons of podcasts.
Sounds like something you'd find when you're getting your colonoscopy. Hey, you've got pod whore inside you.
Joe, sometime I will ask. Joe, have you ever had a colonoscopy?
Not yet. My doctor keeps pressuring me. I don't respond well to pressure.
Oh, there's a lot of pressure involved in that. Anyway, sometime when we're not on the air, I will tell you the horrors that come before.
No, there's been a lot of...
Because during the colonoscopy, you're all drugged up.
Oh, yeah.
You feel great.
No, I've seen it.
Anyway, so I was listening to another podcast. He pauses to let them make snarty remarks. And they had on the owner of a comic shop in Pennsylvania that has announced that they are no longer going to be carrying new comics on the shelf.
Because he's an idiot. But that's a difference.
Well, I'll let you know what his reasoning was. First was that he makes more money off trade paperbacks and cheap back issues because he buys up collections and sells pretty much the generic back issues for $1 a piece. And then he said the other reason was, well, he was worried that comics were going to go to $4.99, and that would price people out of the market. But he also said that he has had like 3 or 4 people in the last year abandon books. They're subscribers. They didn't pick their stuff up for 2 or 3 or 4 months, and he was stuck with the stuff.
Which was his first mistake. He shouldn't have gone that long.
That was my first thing. It's if you're letting people stack up that much product, if you're loaning them that much money, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, just for people who haven't been with us so long, every time your retailer holds the books, they buy their stuff mostly up front. Either when they show up, they write the check. Occasionally you get terms. I've heard up to 4 weeks is possible, but most of the retailers, at least the ones I dealt with, and this includes guys like the Source and Net, they just pay as they go. And trying to get them to take a check is always the tough part, too.
Wait, people still use checks?
Business-wise, they do.
I don't think... I write a check every month for my rent, and that's it.
I don't even think we do that. We just... 90% of our stuff is just done online.
Jen, when's the last time you wrote a check?
What's a check?
And there we go. So, now, Joe, when people started a subscription with you, did you tell them how long they had to pick up their books?
Generally, I requested that everybody stop by at least once a month. That was with the big store. There were always exceptions. I mean, if I knew a guy was out of town, if I knew, like we had a couple guys going to the military service, so I held them. We had one guy, actually there were 2 guys, our own Willie Mellon. He would come in every 2-3 months because he came in from Wisconsin, so I wasn't too worried about him. And there was another guy on the other side of town. He used to live right on top of us, and then he moved to the other side of town. He would come in every 2 months. So, again, if I knew you were going to be gone, it wasn't a problem. I always paid attention. If I dropped a copy of, say, Spirit number 1, when Spirit number 2 showed up, assuming it was a monthly book, then I knew there was something up, and generally just a quick phone call. Either brought them in, or a lot of times I just save the time and say, if you don't, if I don't hear from you this week, I'll just assume you can't pick them up, and you can always stop back and start again. Either way, I was stuck with it.
I think one of the issues that happens at comic shops is there are people who they will buy a lot of stuff, and then if they have some sort of financial issue and they can't pick up their stuff, they get embarrassed about it. And they don't want to come in and go, yeah, I lost my job, or I got downsized, or, there's something financial happened and I can't pick up my books. So they would just not come in. And I think one of the problems that this shop had is they probably didn't have a policy of, if you don't come in after, if you don't come in once a month, we put your books back immediately. I think you had a couple people who at one point had, had like a long box full of stuff. And after that got resolved, you just kind of said that you weren't going to do that anymore. At least one of them I remember, he had a long box worth of stuff, and he would come in every week, and he would go through and he would pull out the hot books and leave the rest. And then when you finally told him, look, you got to start picking up the crap that you're putting aside too, he just quit coming to your store.
Yeah, I had guys like that.
And the big problem with it was you want to be nice to your customers, but you also don't want to be stacking up tons and tons and tons of stuff.
Hey.
Yes.
I gotta go out to my truck. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
She's
Mother trucker?
Yep. I'll be back. All right.
Okay. We'll
Keep talking about shit I don't know anything about.
Now I can sing. Sing. Nah, I don't want to sing. No, it's no fun.
Thank you. But my big thing with that business model is that what he's going to do, he's going to be dependent on people bringing in their old stuff. And eventually, if you go to a shop and all they have are back issues, eventually you're not going to go there all the time. You're going to go there once in a while when you've got extra money. You're not a destination shop anymore.
Yeah, there's a couple like that in town. We talked about them last couple podcasts.
One of the things I wanted to ask is you've talked a lot in the past about Twin City Comics and how he said you could be good at the new stuff or good at the old stuff, but you can't be good at both. And there came a point where he just stopped carrying the new stuff. And I didn't go into his shop a lot, but didn't he also branch out into non-comic things?
Well, he had a good thing going with, at the time, Carl Barks lithographs. He sold really unique collectibles, which is eventually what his store morphed into when he went from St. Paul Comics to Unique Collectibles. I mean, like a 8-foot tall styrofoam Hams bear, which was a beer mascot in the 60s and 70s. Tin toys. I mean, he could always tell when the economy was starting to go south because he said he'd have these lawyers come in and they'd be investing their money in tin toys because tin toys don't depreciate, unlike everything else. And then, of course, when the economy recovered, they'd sell them. He sold, I think they were called Negro collectibles. I don't want to say it without offending people, but essentially it was just like 1930s, 1940s figurines, the stereotypical Negro. Again, he said the biggest people that bought them were black people. They just loved them. I sold a lot of T-shirts, and he did still have high-end comics. We talked many podcasts ago about there was somebody came into town and systematically robbed almost every single store of their golden and silver age, with two exceptions. I think Midway Comics, because they tried to break into a door that wasn't really a door, and John's shop, because he had like a 1-ton safe that every night he would carefully grab all of his high-buck collectibles, put them in, and lock it. And his attitude was, if you walk away with the safe, you can have it. But yeah, when he decided to drop comics, that was when Pat and I, at the time, we were like big weekend warriors. We got a few of them now, Mark Myrtle, Greg Hammer, and they'll be at the cons coming up. And they're kind of like the big guys in town in terms of, I don't know, just absorbing collections to sell. And Pat and I were getting a reputation like that. And when the word was out that we were looking for a comic shop, it was kind of amazing because all of a sudden all these people came to us and said, yeah, we hear you're looking for a place to buy comics. And they were talking to us about maybe signing up with them. And eventually we did go with Brian and Dan at Hot Comics because they had like if you bought over $150 a month, you got 30% off your subscription. And of course, Pat and I together, we were way over $150 a month. So, and yeah, he stuck with paper products. A few years later, he sold all his paper products with the exception of the lithographs because he was getting into refurbishing old gas pumps. You know, you basically.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. See, I only went to his store a couple of times. The first time was when I first moved here, and it was still kind of a comic shop, but it was hard to get to him. Parking was a pain, and he didn't really have anything that basically he had what everybody else had. And then I went years later, and he had all this odd stuff, and then high dollar, high end comics. That there's no way I could afford. But there is a part of me that thinks that a comic shop is such a niche destination that without that person coming in every week, you get out of the habit of going there. Especially if you're just going to be dealing with old back issues and stuff. Well, I don't buy a lot of Marvel back issues anymore because I can read them for $9.99 a month on Marvel Unlimited. A lot of the DC stuff, well, it's out of continuity now, and it's so many crossovers that you have to actually go online and research. Okay, this story went over to this book, and then this book, and then this book, and then over here, and then back to here. And I'm glad that they reprint the big Batman crossover events in huge thick books. But for a lot of stuff, it's like, it's not worth chasing it down. The other thing I wanted to talk about is how serialization builds a customer base. One of the things about a podcast that has been hammered into my head by pretty much everybody who's successful at it, and we're a good example of it too, is if you put out your podcast at a regular time, at a regular date, and you hit it like clockwork every time, your audience starts to build.
So you got like what, 2 dozen now?
Hey.
Probably about 3.
We have tens of listeners.
Let's not be unrealistic, Joe.
Okay, 2.
I have at least 4 super fans.
What's a super fan?
Someone who actually listens to the show and sends us feedback.
And owns a cape.
And calls other radio stations and yells Baba Booey into the phone.
I can do that.
Could you?
No, not really.
Okay. But I think the person who comes into the shop every week gets in that habit of, okay, it's Wednesday, I'm coming home from work, I'll stop by the shop. But if you don't have that weekly draw, you're not going to have somebody stop by all the time because it'll be, I could go over to the comic shop and pick up some back issues, but, I got to get home, I got to make supper, I got to do this, I got to do that, I don't have extra money. And slowly but surely you quit being a store that people go to. Much like how we talked about Twin Cities Comics. He would sell high-end stuff. But I doubt he carried anything under like $20 in the store anymore because nobody's going to wander into that store, every couple of weeks to pick up the new whatever. Now, Joe, when you had the smaller shop, did it ever build? Did you gain any subscribers, or was it just you had what you had when you had it?
No, I think we started with 30. We got upwards of 50. Again, we weren't really a destination shop because, like you said, you walk in, turn around twice, you've seen everything that was in it. Whereas with Hot Comics, you could walk around dozens of times and you'd still swear you're going to miss something, which is what I was after.
Which is why I love Dreamhaven so much.
Oh, Dreamhaven. The Source is getting that way. The Source is that way.
I know with comic books, they still rely on the Wednesday shopper. And with podcasts, they rely on, it's this comes out every month, or this comes out every few weeks, or this comes out. My favorite podcast in the whole wide universe, WrestleCrap Radio, they've been going for 10 years. They only have 250 episodes.
Wimps.
And they come out almost randomly. And I've talked to the guys, when I started this up and over the years to try and get information on what they do and how they do stuff. And they said that once they quit doing it every 2 weeks, their listenership really dropped off a cliff. And I know with TV shows, they talk about how when 24 was on every week, the audience built. But that first year when it was, okay, here's 4 episodes and now 3 episodes off, 3 weeks off, and now 2 episodes and then a week off. And Joe, can you think of any other entertainment that's still very serialized, that every week or every whatever still draws people? That's a long question.
Yeah, pro wrestling, football season, especially football. I mean, I don't see it in the other sports because you miss a hockey game here, you miss a football game here. There's going to be another one, or a baseball game. But those you either are in it or you just aren't.
Now, if Jen is sober enough to answer a question.
Huh?
Damn.
I'm here. I'm tired of eating gummy worms. I'm done.
Okay. What happened with your readership when you were doing regular versus when it came out less regular?
I mean, there's definitely a benefit to regularly updating, but I have to say everything is so social media driven now. I think as long as you're kind of engaging people there, I know the actual web traffic has dropped off considerably. Even among my friends who update regularly, I don't think their traffic is what it used to be. And I know definitely ad revenues declined. So, I mean, even among webcomics, which are kind of changing comics in a way, or at least a new avenue of doing it, even that's rapidly changing because before it was always people trolling through your archives, reading your website, coming to your website every day, and now everything is, I want to see your comics on Tumblr, I want to see them on Twitter, I want to see them on Facebook. So even that's a really rapidly changing way of providing your content to your readers. So I can't really say because there's definitely something to updating regularly, but I think as long as it doesn't have to be on a consistent schedule, at least not in the kind of work that I do.
I have noticed that the bigger webcomic providers that are comic book type based, like DC Digital, Thrillbent, there are a few others, they tend to release stuff every week. But I think a lot of that is because they come from the comic book world where it's okay, you put it out, it comes out on Wednesday and people know it's there. It's almost like they're trying to bring people who go to the shop every Wednesday into reading webcomics.
Yeah, the world I come from is kind of your readers are lucky you've overcome your self-loathing long enough to post an update at all. I mean, asking for it to be on any kind of regular schedule is probably asking too much.
Because one of the things I love about Thrillbent is they deliver. You're going to get a new episode of that story every week until they reach a conclusion. But the other thing they're doing, I think because they're comic book based, is that they are, Empire, that Mark Waid's doing on Thrillbent. It gets to a certain point, IDW puts out a comic book, physical comic book of it. And then once they complete the story, IDW will publish it as a comic. There are people at Marvel who will actively tell people, look, we're looking for new talent. Do not come up to us at conventions and show us a portfolio anymore. We don't care. We could not possibly care less about your portfolio. We want to see that you can hit a deadline. So they are saying, create a comic strip online somewhere, show you can hit a deadline, show that you could draw human beings interacting with each other, show that you know how to do page layout. And a lot of, if you've noticed at Marvel at least, a lot of the European artists are moving over to DC, and Marvel's pulling in more and more people from the indies and from webcomics. I think Squirrel Girl's drawn by someone who started in webcomics. Howard the Duck is drawn by someone who started at webcomics. And as they're trying to expand their readership, especially with the digital stuff, they're going to be looking for more talent there. Especially when Squirrel Girl now sells more copies on iTunes than it does physical. Ms. Marvel sells more copies on iTunes than it does digital. The next thing I wanted to ask about is, Joe, binge reading.
I'm not really all that familiar with that. That seems to be more of a new phenomena that's happening because of digital, because of Trace. I don't see, I mean, I do it myself when there's certain titles like Letter 44 or The Bunker that I wait till I get 6 or 7 up and I'll read. Most of the time, though, I try to read it as they come out. And, we get our box stays. So for me, it's once a month, and then I just go on like a binge reading stuff. I think the closest you get to that is when people start a graphic novel series. Even when I had the big shop, and somewhat with the littler shop, people would come in and pick up Preacher number 1. And they'd be back in a couple days or next week, pick up Preacher number 2, or start with Sandman or whatever. So I always wanted to make sure you had those ready to go. It's, again, stuff we've talked about. You keep the perennials going.
One of the things I remember most working at your shop when graphic novels started up like that was you would have somebody who would come in and pick up the first one. And you'd tell them, if you don't like it, bring it back. You could trade it out for something else. And usually within 2 or 3 weeks, they'd come back and want to buy like 2 or 3 of the next one. My favorite was one of my friends who I met through NaNoWriMo came in, and I knew she was into like the cyberpunk stuff. And so I said, well, here's Transmetropolitan. Read the first one. If you like it, the next week she came in and bought all 7. Just boom, in a big stack. And I don't remember if there were other people who bought like the whole stack of them. But I was always kind of a binge reader. I would especially stuff that was continued a lot, I would let it stack up till it was like, oh, okay, well, here's like 5 or 6 issues in a row. That'll be a nice big chunk to read, and I don't have to worry about the cliffhangers. But one of the things I find is publishers and shops were all worried that everybody was going to wait for the trade. And even I said, eventually comics are going to get to be like books where you have the chapters come out and people don't buy a lot of those, but they buy the books. And other than a few of the big ones like Saga and Walking Dead, that doesn't seem to be happening. People still like coming in every week or every month or whatever and picking up the next part of the story. And what I find very cool is when Walking Dead hits us, they collect 6 issues at a time. Every 6 issues, there's a sales bump. Because people know, oh, okay, well, those issues are going to be collected as a trade. I want to have the next part of the story. Joe, do you think that'll continue if comics go to $4.99?
I'm not sure. I mean, it depends, first of all, if people are going to do like I do, wait for the trade, wait till it's online digitally, or people will just say, you know what, I'm not going to buy it. They might go to places like Discount Comic Book Service where they can get a deeper discount. They might wait for, conventions like, Fall Comic-Con, October 10th, 2015, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. There's always somebody there blowing stuff out cheap. So it might.
You're as good as that as somebody showing up on like a Jimmy Kimmel talk show where I'm here to plug the movie and I'm going to plug that movie every time there's a possibility.
It could be. So.
How much are they paying you?
Surprisingly nothing, but I am trying to get good karma because as of now I can't get off work. So Jin, if you're free on October 10th and going to FallCon, maybe you can sit next to Cory in my seat since I won't be able to get to the con yet.
Yeah? Well, we'll record something without you.
Good.
Joe won't be there.
Nope.
Who
His
will
death
sing?
awaits me with big, nasty, pointy teeth.
Who will I tell to shut up?
Well, Dan will be there.
Dan doesn't sing.
Dan doesn't sing. Dan talks like a puppet.
Dan will have his puppet.
Dan will have
Just don't reach into his pocket for his puppet.
The puppet will be judging the title bout that will be going on.
Meanwhile, Michael Roker is at the Comic-Con posting pictures of him with a 5-year-old Deadpool.
Jeez. Well, one of the things that Joe always said was when a book got to $3.99, he was like, nah, that's too much. It's not worth it. Do you still feel that way, Joe?
It has to be really damn good. I look at the run of Avengers leading up to Secret Wars. It was really damn good. Because even the last issue, I mean, they always pull out that bonus issue, you know. We've junked the price to $7.99, but we've included several cool reprints. I think
And a whole
Shield did
bunch of
that.
extra story pages. And I used to love when Marvel did that. Those 100-page monster issues.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a shame.
Well, annual season was always fun, too, because you knew you were going to get a little something extra.
Well, until it became, okay, all the annuals are part of one big stupid story that nobody's going to like. I'm looking at you, Evolutionary War. I'm looking at you, Atlantis Attacks. By the way, I have the omnibuses of both of those, Joe.
That's because you're weak and need something to hold up them bookcases.
I have yet to make it all the way through either one of them.
Maybe you could give them away for the next person who will have some type of contest. You can give them away.
I'm not giving away my omnibuses. I need them to scare people with. I don't have guns like somebody else in this conversation.
Yeehaw!
I have to threaten people with huge books. I have to threaten them with my giant-sized man thing. I miss the crickets. Joe, anything else on the topic?
Where would you think it's going to go?
Every time that comics go up in price, since they hit like $2.50, I've thought, well, this is it. And then there was that time in the 90s where it really felt like they couldn't find the bottom fast enough. I was reading an interview with Joe Quesada when they asked him about, you know, what was it like, you know, publishing in the mid-90s, and he talked about how every month the orders would come in and they would have dropped, and people in the industry were like, okay, we finally found the floor, and then the next month they would drop again. And when he was brought in at Marvel to do Marvel Knights, they literally told him, look, we don't know if we're going to be publishing anything next year, so do what you can, try and save these books, try and get us some sales, and, you know, maybe something will turn around soon. And I thought when comics went to $4 a pop, that was it. People were going to go, okay. Because for me, on like your mainstream Marvel stuff, I just went, no, I'm going Marvel Unlimited. I'm not paying $4 a comic when I can read it in, 7 minutes. But sales now are better than they've been in 15 years. And I keep thinking, well, if you go to $4.99, you've got to get more pages. You've got to get more content. But they're having trouble getting books out on time as is. I don't know. The digital thing, the stuff that the little weird books like Squirrel Girl and Ms. Marvel selling real well digitally gives me a lot of hope that that's kind of where the future of comics is. I'm now at the point where I prefer reading a comic on my tablet. I do. I just do. I don't have to have long boxes. I don't have to, worry about, dropping the comic, wrinkling the cover, anything like that. It's a digital file. Boom, 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 boom. I think trade paperbacks are still the way to go. I still enjoy trade paperbacks. I love hardcovers. You give me a deluxe hardcover of something cool with here's the sketches and here's, the pitch that was used, and here's that. I am all over that. I want that, and I don't care if I'm buying it a second time. I actually looked. I've got like 3 different versions of Batman: The Dark Knight. I've got the original.
This vodka is just fucking dire. I gotta go get more sugar and vodka.
Okay.
Mostly vodka.
I've bought Dark Knight 3 times. I bought the original trade paperback. I bought the leather-bound complete Frank Miller Batman, and then I bought the Absolute. I probably won't buy 3 different versions of stuff again, but when they put out the Deluxe Wii 3, one of my favorite comics ever made, sold off the paperback, bought the deluxe. I'd rather have the deluxe. I want the hardcover. I want all the stuff in the back. I want the character design pages, stuff like that. The thing that I find fascinating is how more and more creators are, like, they're making their name out on the indies. Then they come to Marvel or DC to build up their name. And then they go back to the indies because they own it. And I think that's going to be the path for creators, at least. For fans, I don't know. And for shops, you and I have talked about, if shops haven't diversified, they're going to fall apart. The Wild Peak thing, I think it's going to do really well for a while, but eventually people are going to go, you know what, I don't need a complete run of Micronauts. I don't need to have, I don't need to have the Avengers books from 1995 to 1997, even if they are $1 each. I want to read the new stuff. I don't want to wallow in nostalgia. And you and I still disagree on this, but I think that once all you're selling is nostalgia, you're living on borrowed time. Because with nostalgia, you get that first big pop. Oh, wow, this is back. I missed this. And 99 times out of 100, the second time, your audience is less. Third time, the audience is less. Fourth time, the audience is less. Until you're TNA bringing out Hulk Hogan and pulling an audience of 900,000. Speaking of TNA, Joe. TNA wrestling?
I don't know. I never watch it.
Yeah, nobody does. Yep. They aren't even listed on the schedule at their channel after the last week of September. So,
oh, good. Maybe that'll give McMahon something to buy.
Oh, good. He'll buy the tape library for $50 and a cheese sandwich.
Sure.
You know who else would like $50 and a cheese sandwich?
Who's that?
These guys, our sponsors. This podcast and all the other podcasts that we have on the Solitaire Rose Network has sponsors. And our sponsors are, first, as always, our beloved DreamHost.com. DreamHost.com is the best web host in the whole known universe. You need a website. Come on, you know you need a website. If you're going to set up a store, if you're going to start writing, if you're going to start drawing, if you're going to start creating, if you're going to start selling, you need a website. So go to DreamHost.com, use the code CRAZY, and get $20 off your first year. We have a new sponsor. That sponsor is Flaviar, Flaviar. Just go to the Solitaire Rose podcast website at crazycomics.solitairerose.com, where we're inviting you to join. It's a discovery service for spirits aficionados. You gain access to fine spirits at members-only prices. And if you use our link, you get a $10 credit when you join. Finally, if you're listening to this podcast, you are a good-looking person. And as a good-looking person, you cannot trust your skin to just any old razor. That's why we invite you to shave with the amazing razors from Dollar Shave Club. Every month, they send a box with your shave options. At the beginning of the week, you pop in a fresh blade, get that fresh blade shave. It feels fantastic. It's just one of the many ways that I maintain my good looks, and you can maintain your good looks. So join us at the Dollar Shave Club. Their plans start at $3 a month, and they have a money-back guarantee. So if you want to join, just go to www.dollarshaveclub.com/crazy. We love feedback. So if you'd like to give us feedback, you can send us an email at cory.strode@gmail.com, or you could call our voice line at 952-856-0519. Send us an email, drop us a message. We'll put you on the air. We'll answer your question. We love to interact with our fans. We've also got Facebook pages for the Solitaire Rose podcast, for the Crazy Comics and Stories podcast, and the upcoming Solitaire Rose novelcast. So go to Facebook, be our friend. We love friends. If you would like to advertise on Crazy Comics and Stories, Solitaire Rose Radio, or the upcoming Solitaire Rose novelcast, you can. Just send an email to cory.strode@gmail.com, subject advertising. Thanks.
Cool.
And Joe?
Yeah?
What you been doing on the eBays?
Cory, since you helped out so well last week,
I did?
Tell the people about Jeff Smith's comic Bone.
Okay. Bone came out during the early 90s independent boom. And it was self-published through Cartoon Books. And it was the story of these three
Bone
characters.
They're from Boneville.
Yes. And they're not human, but they're not animal. They're kind of anthropomorphic. And they really, unlike most anthropomorphic stuff, you really don't know what animal they're based on, but they're different from people. And they're chased out of their home, they get lost, and they end up in this area. And as they're exploring the area and trying to figure out what they're going to do, they find that this area has a long mythic history. So what starts out as kind of a comedy series rapidly becomes a really well done fantasy book. And it lasted for what, about 40 issues?
I'm just looking right now.
What are you talking about?
Bone.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
55 issues.
55 issues. And at one point there was a huge gap in the middle because Jeff Smith was working with Nickelodeon to develop it into a series. And while it never developed into a series, he got a whole lot of money for doing all the development work because that's how TV works. It has since, it really exploded in popularity when it got picked up for Disney Adventures magazine. It was this little digest magazine that was sold at grocery store checkouts that had comics and articles and pictures and stuff for preteens. Image picked it up for a while, and then Scholastic Books picked it up and reprinted it in trade paperbacks, and Scholastic Books makes most of their money selling through schools. At that point, it just exploded in popularity. And once the series was done for the direct market, Jeff Smith took the entire series and put it in a one big book. I don't even think they have the individual books anymore.
I'm not sure. I know. First thing, before you all go rushing to my eBay page, I own no Bone comic books. I had them. I sold them. Got rid of them. I didn't pick up on Bone until I think they were like around issue 12 or 13 or something. And as far as I can tell, if you have a first print Bone, they only made like 3,000 copies. So you have something that may be worth something. I have Bone.
They did reprint that first issue a whole bunch of times.
I was just looking on Atomic Avenue, and let me jump back to the page here. Let's see, 91's when issue 1 came out. At least 8 printings, including an Ace edition from Wizard. And same thing, I mean, he did something that a lot of self-publishers, if they were successful, did. He always kept his stuff in print. So if I was out, I could go and I could either, if I couldn't get it through Diamond or Capital, I could go through Cold Cut Distribution, who dealt just with black and whites and independents and things like that. Then when he went to Image for a brief time, they reprinted everything up to that date. And I don't remember what issue he went to Image. I can't tell looking at these.
It was issue 20.
Was it 20?
Yes.
Yeah. And even that had a second printing. And then they just reprinted everything so you could keep up to date. I have had, I call it almost like a Bible version. It was printed on some type of leather-bound stock, really thin pages like you see in a family Bible. I picked up a copy, sold it. I flipped about a dozen of those copies. Now it's about a $2,000 book if you can find it on eBay. I still have a single one that hardcover in color, because that was something that when they went to Disney, they got to do. They got to reprint it in color. For my reading, I have the original hardcovers where the 6, 7 issues in a single book. And then I gave my daughters, when they were young, one of the big trade paperbacks that had the entire thing in it. And they have read that thing to pieces. We've used duct tape to keep it together. So if anybody wants to just read it, they can. It's one of my favorite series of all time. Other than the hardcovers, which I'm not selling, the reason I mentioned Bone is because I found I have a set of the Bone action figures that came out.
Oh, wow.
And I put them up on eBay fairly cheap. I don't know, but I think by the time this podcast drops, they'll either have sold or I'll just put them back for sale as opposed to in an auction. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, I've basically just been going through putting up not only some action figures, but I also ran across a whole run of Ultimate miscellaneous books. And much as I love the Ultimate series, it doesn't matter after Secret Wars. No, it's just one of those things. I bought them, I read them. I think they're on Marvel Unlimited if I want to read them. And as usual, if you do buy something off of eBay, give me a quick note and I'll pop in something special, maybe ship it for free. I mean, I've got a vast, I might give you this here beloved copy of Crap I Drew on My Lunch Break, Volume 1. Of course, I never.
Why would you give that away?
You're
It's
right.
very
I will
rare.
never get another one. I better hang on to this thing. I better hide it.
And I've got a feeling that after Secret Wars is over, there will be no history of it ever existing.
That could happen.
I think somebody on this podcast is already trying to erase the fact that it ever existed.
Krayz.
What?
That's where you need to go on eBay to look for me.
Okay.
Jen, are you sober enough to plug anything you're doing?
What do you want me to plug?
That you're selling your art?
Television, razor,
Whatever.
Winkle rotary engine.
We do this like every week.
I know. Like you
And
said,
Joe
repetition.
plugs like a madman.
You need to do it every week, and it'll build up. Well, something will build up. I don't know.
Add me on
What?
Facebook. I want 1,000 Facebook friends.
All right. What's your
That
Facebook?
is the thing that I am plugging. It is
There we go.
Facebook.com/Jin Wicked. Send me a friend request. I will probably post things for you to look at. Please like them.
And buy them.
Please comment on them. And occasionally buy a thing. The end.
Cool. Cory, did I ever tell you the story about somebody calling me asking about the Howard Stern versus Rush Limbaugh comic?
No!
The reason.
Now, you've told me about the Rush Limbaugh Must Die comic. I think that was the one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a series of calls, and apparently the first one was the Rush Limbaugh Must Die comic, which I don't own a copy of anymore. And what happened was it was New Comic Book Day, and I got a call, and somebody asked about it. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, they might be interested in buying a copy of it. And all they did was give me, why, do you think you should be selling that to kids? And I'm like, I don't think kids care who Rush Limbaugh is. Well, it's there where the kids can see it. I said, no, actually, I'm sold out. And unless you want me to buy another one, I probably won't buy another one. And then later on, I remember talking to you about it, and you said apparently the Ditto heads were instructed by Mr. Limbaugh to call your local comic store and give them grief if they carry it. And, of course, the problem was, at the time, I'm trying to be nice to this person, which, had I realized Rush Limbaugh, was sending these Ditto heads out, I probably wouldn't have been so nice. But I needed to run a credit card, and I only had one phone line at the time. So here I am, I've got a line of people waiting, and I'm talking on the phone, and I'm trying to be nice to this guy, and just eventually I just blew him off and said, well, okay, well, give me a call back. Click. He never did. Until Howard Stern versus Rush Limbaugh came out. I mention this because I just sold the one copy I had. It was actually autographed by Hart Fisher. And what I liked about Hart Fisher was, first of all, he really didn't give a damn. And he did this really funny April Fool's Day prank where everybody thought he was dead. And then when it came out that it was just an April Fool's prank, people started, well, you know, he really shouldn't have done that. He got the whole comic industry upset. There are people lining up to give him work, and now no one's going to give him work because of this stunt. And I'm like, have you idiots read the shit he's publishing? You are not going to give him any work anyways. So bugger off. So in the Howard Stern versus Rush Limbaugh, again, this time I was ready. I got the same call. I don't know if it's the same person. Asking about the comic. I said, yes, I have it. Well, do you think you should be selling it to kids? Oh, hell yeah. I mean, these kids have no idea who Howard Stern or Rush Limbaugh is. And I mean, much as Howard Stern's the king of all media and Rush Limbaugh's, you know, just a big fat pig. Oh, no, Rush is, you know, man. I almost hate to sell this comic because as I go through my vast accumulation of stuff, if it doesn't have a memory associated to it, I'm probably going to just sell it or get rid of it. And this one, every time I look at it, reminds me of, first of all, meeting Hart Fisher and telling me, dude, I will buy anything you publish. And then I never did get a chance to tell him about the Howard Stern Rush Limbaugh story. But I sold it.
Oh.
Yep. I got to get rid of my stuff. Besides, now it's in the podcast, Immortalized for All. And that was kind of a Tales from the Shop, which I haven't really done in a while.
We did a few Tales from the Shop
we
today.
kind of sneak them in there when we can.
We sneak them in there. You know what else we sneak in whenever we can?
Whoops.
Freaking and geeking. Joe, what are you freaking on? What's bugging you? What's running around in your mind all night that it makes it so you can't sleep?
Well, you know, we didn't talk much about it this year. We had a good podcast last year. We're talking about 9/11. And, sorry, I was just momentarily stunned. I found that Bone limited edition hardcover, $1,299 if you want one.
Oh!
Yeah,
well,
it's pocket change.
Let me dig through the cushions of my couch.
Sure, don't upset the cat. Anyways.
The cat loves me.
Oh God, the
Jin,
cat,
on the other hand,
the cat, like I just wanted to touch the cat and the cat swiped at me and tore up my finger.
And why did the cat swipe at you?
Because I wanted to touch, because it's a fucking cat. I hate cats.
Yeah, but where was the cat?
The cat was in your room.
And what did I tell you?
Don't touch the cat.
The cat, that's her room. Do not go there. You are not allowed there.
Well.
Right now she's laying on the floor, kind of all twisted up and staring at me upside down. Trying desperately to be cute.
I'm sure it's adorable.
I'm used to it.
Oh, whoa, here's one for $700.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me pull out my leftover soda money.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Now, how much was that when it came out?
$200.
Okay.
I remember I actually bought one at Big Brain Comics for like $300, knowing I could flip it for $4. So.
That's one of those things I remember you've bought like 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah.
And flipped them every
Well, there was
time.
another one that came out that I missed. It was the Bone #1 volume hardcover 20th anniversary box set, which I've seen around, and I just, again, how many copies do I need? But this one comes with a really cool edition, a bunch of pins, a bunch of other things, maybe I don't know, fun stuff.
It shakes your hand.
It's only $400.
It holds your hair when you're throwing up in the toilet because you're too drunk.
It's that type of book.
Yes.
But
Jeff Smith is a very nice guy. I have not read his second book, by the way.
Which one?
What's it?
Rascal? I don't know. I tried reading it, and then I thought, as a comic, and I got to the point where it was like, I am not going to get it didn't work for me. So I figured maybe I better wait, and I'll buy it as a book whenever I see it come out.
And that would be hard. That'd be a hard act to follow up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of people who they have their first thing is huge, and then they have a lot of trouble following it up. For some reason, they're not able to catch that light. Glamour Puss is the best example, especially when overall, I love Cerebus. Most of it. Because it was 300 issues. I love it up till about issue 186. And if you've read issue 186, you know why. And then I like the last, what was it, 12 issues, the final day.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, pretty much everything from 186 to 270. Oh my God, that was one of the hardest slogs I've ever read in my life.
Was that the Torah thing?
Yes, where he went into the Torah, and he had the Cerebus and Jaka got together for the most joyless, painful relationship I've ever read, and it lasted years. And it felt like a bad romantic comedy version of Lord of the Rings, because I remember every issue they were walking somewhere and arguing and hating each other. And you'd open it up, oh, it's another issue. What's going on in it? Cerebus is walking. And they're arguing about God.
So I think although I own them, I don't think I ever read it. I actually gave a copy to a friend of mine who was Jewish, and even he was like, I don't know where he's going with this, but I really don't care. So I kind of did what you did. I skipped that, and I just went to the last days.
It's such a shame, too, because High Society is brilliant. High Society is utterly brilliant. It's the best Marx Brothers comedy other than the early Paramount ones. I think it's better than all their stuff at MGM. He had the timing down. He had he was just a master of comedy with that. And then you had Church and State, which I will hold up as literature. Church and State was phenomenal. He biffed the ending, but it was phenomenal. And Jaka's story, which came right after that, I would hand that to people who never read comics when they say, why do you read comics? Read this. And people who'd never read a comic book before would go, wow, this is a great, great story. And the stuff that came after it was okay. But then after his divorce, he lost his fucking mind.
Oh, is that what happened?
Pretty much.
Issue 186, he has this essay. Because he built up a world in which there were opposing religions, and one was controlled by women. And 186 was this essay about how women are the void and they devour all creativity.
I've heard of that, but I've never actually read it.
I think you got to buy the actual comic book issues to get it, because I don't think he reprinted them in the...
No, it's in there.
Is it?
It's in there.
Which one?
It's in Reed's.
Reed's. Okay.
I forget which one of the volumes, but I'm reading it going, I've been angry and bitter before. This is off the charts angry and bitter bullshit.
Did he do something wrong, or did his wife just leave him? Why was he so angry?
He was a creator he did everything and his wife handled all the business. And in the early 80s, if you had an independent comic book publisher and you had some capital behind you, you could publish a lot of stuff. And she wanted to publish more stuff. So they published a line of comics, Aardvark Vanheim.
Like for other people?
Yeah, including Ms. Tree, which is one of my favorite comics ever, Neil the Horse, which was a musical comedy comic book with original songs.
French Ice.
I
think Normal Man, Journey.
Oh, Journey was
a lot of things.
So what happened?
So they split up, but kept the business together for a while. And then she eventually took all the other books to create Renegade Press. And at first their divorce was amicable, but then something happened between them. And when she left to do Renegade, Dave Sim went on a promotional tour. And Joe and I saw him on at least one of those. And from what Sim said, He basically got comic shops to pay him to come there, do signings, and at night he would get hammered and sleep with any woman who was available. He just was running the field, and he was running high because he was a self-publisher and a successful one, and he was telling all creators, quit working for companies, self-publish, do it yourself, own it yourself. And then at the end of one of these tours, something happened, and he became so angry at women that it seeped into his work. And then he became very religious. And I've never been able to figure out if he went Muslim or this weird branch of Judaism. But he would actually stop interviews and go, I need to go pray now. Can we start up the interview again in an hour? And if you read his work, you can see it just completely overwhelmed the work.
Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah. And he had promised back with issue 15, 16 of Cerebus that it would run 300 issues, and at the end of the 300th issue, Cerebus would die. So he did the story, got to the end, and he did Cerebus's Last Day, which, if you look at it and you read it, you see that Sim is a brilliant cartoonist. The way he uses panels, the way he uses layouts, his caricature, his form. The guy's unbelievably good. And it's such a shame that almost a third of his comic is fucking unreadable. And then he went away because he thought, hey, I've got all these trade paperbacks, I have all this work, this will sustain me for the rest of my life. Well, if you're not putting out a book every month, you start to fade from the public consciousness. And he got the idea to do Glamour Puss, and I think at the beginning it was one shot, right, Joe?
I don't think so. I think it was planned as a series.
But it was a parody of the fashion world. And I swear to God, when he announced it, pretty much everybody who knew comics kind of went, what? To the point where there was this big fashion event in New York that happens every year. He published a special issue just for that and actually went there to hand it out at the fashion event. But as he did it, it switched into him talking about a style of the realistic illustrative style of artwork created by Alex Raymond. So this comic that was a parody of the fashion world morphed into telling the life story of Alex Raymond and his bizarre death. Until eventually, nobody was buying the damn thing.
By the way, if you're interested in a copy of the fashion industry book, which probably 99.9% of them were thrown away, I've got one on eBay. So.
And I read the first couple issues and went, yeah, this isn't for me. But then when he started doing the life of Alex Raymond and talking about the illustrative style that Raymond and artists like him used, I started picking it up again because it was Sim talking about art and showing examples and changing his art style to that. Now, here's a guy who, if you look at his early stuff, he's very influenced by Mort Drucker and Jack Davis and a lot of the caricaturists who worked at Mad. And now he's doing this very illustrative, realistic style and talking about the ins and outs of it. And I guess sales eventually got to the point where it wouldn't sell anymore, and he's now doing a graphic novel about the life and death of Alex Raymond, who died in a very strange car accident that has a lot of unanswered questions. But Sim himself will not do interviews with anyone unless they sign an affidavit stating that he is not a misogynist. You have to write it. He has a form. He will send it to you. You have to sign it and send it back, and he will post it on a web page. So yes, kids, some people, the mind just snaps.
He who controls the pumpkin spice controls the white girls.
Joe is posting on Facebook right now.
Yeah, I was just listening to Cory go on.
I was.
Now I know how Cory feels when I derail his stuff.
You asked me.
It was kind of fun. I'm telling
Joe
you,
always does these Ask the Strode.
It's scary the amount of stuff that's crammed into your noggin.
And that's just about comics.
He remembers everything too.
He does. And the funny thing is it had nothing to do with 9/11, which gets back to my original freaking.
You mentioned like one thing, and then you started talking about what did you say?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that one.
Cerebus, yeah. But Bill Tucci, who is the creator of the comic character She, they have a special event coming up, which you got to watch. They're having a bunch of creators make She covers, and it's going to charity. It's going to be on eBay, so I'll mention more about that when they get around to it. But Bill posted a picture of the second plane coming in to hit the Twin Towers. You know, the first tower's already ablaze. It's an iconic picture. It's history. It happened. His wife gets banned because somebody found the picture offensive. Bill got banned because someone posted the picture. The reason I know is because I took that picture. I posted it on my Facebook page. And in case you don't know, my whole job exists because of 9/11. And I was aghast to find out that somebody found that image offensive. Again, you have no idea who, because you just report it and Facebook bans you. Was it some pinhead in the Middle East, didn't like it, thought it was, a Jewish conspiracy? Was it somebody who's upset that it happened? I'm upset that it happened. It was 14 years ago.
I was just bored.
No, I don't think you got that type of offense going,
What are we talking about?
Just somebody banning. If you don't like something on Facebook, do what Tim does. Move on. Don't get offensive. Don't report. And a 9/11 post to get upset about that. That was pretty. So that was, I don't know, that just riled me. I'm reading the reports of the Colbert Show, and boy, people are bitchy. I'm like, oh, it's not that good. It's not that good. I said, well, Carson, Letterman, Leno, these guys weren't that good to start anyways. I don't know what people were expecting, super home runs or something. But
I know
I've
what
enjoyed
they were
it.
expecting, Joe.
I've actually enjoyed it. What they remember.
They were expecting the Colbert Report.
Yeah, and he's not doing that character. The humor is very similar, especially his wordplay, and I do like his political thing. And when he was talking to Joe Biden, I mean that
was probably the best TV interview I've seen in a long time.
And that's what a lot of the people were talking about. Everybody has a certain point where that's what turns it. People start talking. People start tuning in. With Jay Leno, it was when he talked to Hugh Grant. What were you thinking? I did a bad thing. Up to that point, Letterman was smoking his ass. Johnny Carson, it wasn't until Tiny Tim's wedding that got everybody. We all think, oh yeah, he was king for 30 years. Well, yeah, but he wasn't the king until after that. I don't know if it's too early to see if that's his moment, but it was definitely there. I mean, it was almost uncomfortable to watch, but so I've been trying to avoid people. It's just, again, it's easy to jump on someone and be negative about it. I just didn't like it. And I still have not found Wheaties beer. It's out there, and there's no.
I went to
Wheaties in it.
3 different liquor stores this weekend asking for it. It's sold out. It's sold out.
Did it really? Oh. Well, I can't complain. I got my Not Your Father's Root Beer last week, I guess. And it was limited edition, so I have no idea if they're ever going to get it again. So, General Mills, if you want to send us a sample of the Wheaties beer and maybe some vodka for gin, we'd appreciate that. Cory, what are you freaking on? What's got you down in the dumps?
Joe.
What?
You're skipping someone.
No, you go to gin. I go to you.
No.
You want me to go to gin?
I go last. That way you two can fall asleep.
Fine.
Right, Jen?
Huh?
See?
Jen, Cory wants to know what you're freaking on. What's got you down in the dumps? What's got you bummed as bad as finding you just drank the last drop of vodka?
I've been here for 2 weeks and I haven't seen you yet.
I'll send you an obscene picture.
Thanks.
Anything for you.
Here's the thing, Jen. Joe says he's going to send you a dick picture. It's a picture of Dick Cheney.
Oh, no. I would never do that. It'll be Richard Nixon.
He said obscene. He didn't say dick pic.
Yeah, you said dick pic. What are you thinking over there, Strode?
Obscene could be any number of things.
I keep up with the youth of today. I know the difference. Instagram is for dinner. Snapchat is for dicks.
Well, nobody said anything about Snapchat.
Nobody said anything about dicks until you started.
You're just shoehorning things in a desperate attempt to seem relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Do we even want to know what he's freaking on?
I don't really want to know. What are you freaking on, Cory?
I don't need this abuse from you. I got hundreds of people dying to abuse me.
Oh, my line now. That's really bad.
Marvel has announced that Secret Wars is now a 9-issue miniseries.
Oh, sweet.
With the final issue coming out in December. So that's right, kids. The after effects of Secret Wars start in October. The ending of Secret Wars is 2 months later. There's your planning for you, everybody. Not only are the books late, so the retailers are going to have to, deal with that. Oh, by the way, we're spoiling the ending. Oh, and Joe, remember X-Men 600, which was supposed to come out in May?
Not until you mentioned it, no.
That would wrap up the Brian Michael Bendis storyline that leads into Secret Wars.
Hang on, let me look at my notes. Oh, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in May.
Yeah.
And then he apologized, said it wasn't coming out till October.
He's not doing a thing like the guy on Hawkeye, is he?
It's coming out in November now.
Well, which year? Which year?
He didn't say that. So we're going to get to see, all the changes with the X-Men before the issue that sets up all the changes with the X-Men.
Good.
Joe, did you realize that it's fall TV premiere weeks?
Yeah.
The new fall TV shows start this week.
I was all excited for Muppets last week, and I realized I got to wait till next week, or for you in Podland, tomorrow.
I remember when I was a kid, and the new premiere week was a big deal because we'd have a summer of reruns, and now all the new shows are coming. They did all this promotion about all the cool new shows. By the way, the 99.9% of them blue chunks. It's now to the point where, hey, it's premiere week, big deal. Most of these shows are going to be gone in 3 weeks anyway. Who cares? They're going to have new ones after that, and I don't care. Saturday mornings used to be a big deal. They would have a primetime special. Here are all the cartoons that start tomorrow.
Yay!
They don't do that anymore.
No. They don't have cartoons on Saturday morning anymore.
Well, they do on Cartoon Network, and Disney XD does them on Sundays. But really, it's fall. New shows are starting. I mean, they don't even last long enough for us to do the Deadpool for them, where we go, okay, which will be the first show canceled? Because by the time David Watkins gets around to putting together, okay, here are all the new series. Yeah, 2 of them have been canceled. So I was looking over the new season, and it's okay. I might want to watch Supergirl. What else?
Well, I still like Big Bang Theory. I mean, that's starting up, and I mentioned the Muppets. So those are actually the 2 shows, because I don't have cable. So those are the only 2 shows I really care about. And
well,
Supergirl.
Then you should be happy that MeTV has their fall season started. They took off Mission Impossible, the sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches.
Now they show Man from U.N.C.L.E. 12 times a week, and it's like, I don't want to watch Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Where
I want
is
to watch
River Falls?
Wisconsin.
Okay, never mind.
Not that far away.
So that's all I'm geeking on. Comics are late. And
freaking,
TV sucks.
freaking. We're freaking.
Freaking.
We're not
that's
geeking.
all I'm
we're not
freaking
geeking.
on.
Get it right.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Strode? What are you drinking over there?
Diet Mr. Pete.
Yeah.
What is Mr. P?
One of the hundreds of Dr. Pepper ripoffs.
He's too cheap to buy the real stuff.
No, Dr. It's no, it's Dr. Pete
Derp.
is with your Soda Stream.
He spent all his money buying me food.
I spent all my money on crack and hookers like a smart person.
You did not.
Shh.
Don't listen to him. Cory is like the biggest goody two shoes ever.
Oh my God! Why do you keep breaking kayfabe?
Goody two shoes.
I
Cory
learned
is
what
just
kayfabe means.
She's gonna ruin my reputation, Joe.
He doesn't have a reputation to ruin.
Yes, I do.
You do not.
I am your charming and delightful Uncle Rat Bastard, I'll have you know.
He's the biggest goody two shoes. I'm gonna make you vodka. Let me make you dinner. Let me make you cat food pastry.
Hey! I'll have you know the cat didn't eat that.
Joe, what are you geeking on?
Thank you. I did my first Instagram.
I saw
Probably
that you
my-
added me on Instagram.
Yeah, I probably won't do another one because it's really a pain in the ass to get it on Facebook. I just take the frickin' picture and upload it from my camera. Instagram. Okay, log in, pick your picture. Where's your picture? I had my daughter help me find the damn picture after
You
I
just
took
have
it.
the Instagram posted to Facebook for you.
See, Joe, that's why you need to see Jin. She will teach you these
I will
things.
teach you how to phone.
Seeing as how you're a senior citizen.
Yeah, old people.
Week. I know TV. And it was PBS too. They had a 5-part series on the Civil War, and I set it up to record.
Wow, that sounds brand new. Oh wait, no, it's almost 30 years old.
Yeah, no, actually it's a couple hundred years old, but they were rerunning it, and rather than have it record during prime time, which would interfere with Chopped, I had it record overnight. Except apparently Chopped ran overnight, and so I had, 1860, 1861, 1864, 1865. And you know how much I love doing my wars out of sequence.
Secret Wars!
Fortunately, my wife's got like Amazon Prime, so we went onto the Amazon channel. We're playing around. They have it all there. So I will be able to watch it. I'll be able to figure out who won the Civil War. Because judging by the shit on Facebook, we're still fighting it.
That was funny.
In terms of I keep thinking I'm never going to buy another DVD, but there's a couple coming up I may have to.
Mad Max.
No, Monty Python and the Holy Grail 40th edition. And then there's also a Complete Monkeys, which includes not only the show, but the 33 1/3 special, the movie Head, and all these are in beautiful Blu-ray. So of course, I may have to check it out. I already know the Monkeys one's about $200 and has to be like advance ordered now because they're only doing like 5,000 of them. The Monty Python one, I just saw a blurb on it and I got it saved to read after we're done podcasting. So check it out.
Mad Max.
The Fred Hembeck variants, getting back to comics that were supposed to be out already, apparently got rejiggered to December's issues. So they weren't canceled. They're coming.
I just dropped their microphone.
No, that was actually my scissors hitting my glass. Comic book wise,
When we do an episode with the both of you drunk, it's going to be a train wreck.
I guess
Like, this is
verbs are
assuming
for
that all the
pussies.
episodes aren't already train wrecks.
There is that.
I don't know why I even try anymore.
I
Comic
don't
book
know why
wise.
you try either.
Spirit #2 from Dynamite, awesome. Vampirilla, Army of Darkness,
Yeah.
And then I finished up, Invader Zim, of course. If you're an Invader Zim fan and you're not reading this one, pause the podcast, run out, get some Invader Zim, get some vodka, come home and read it. Outstanding. The last batch from last box day of the Secret Wars tie-ins, they include Guardians of Nowhere, Ultimate End, Infinity Gauntlet.
Was that the last issue of Ultimate End?
Nope, I think there's one more.
Okay.
It's Infinity Gauntlet, Future Imperfect, Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, and
Which is awesome!
not as awesome as Hank Johnson, Agent of Hydra, which really could have been a regular issue. It didn't need to be part of the Secret Wars tie-in, so those are actually fun. Now I just wait. I suppose I'll upload my Diamond order next week. Wait for the new box day. Maybe reassemble some things, put some stuff on eBay. Read crap I drew on my lunch break, Volume 1, the first 100 comics. I know I've got volume.
That's an awesome forward, by the way.
I've got number 2 around here somewhere. I just got to find it. Maybe I'll bring it to the con, have it autographed. I heard the creator's going to be there.
Yeah, but I don't know. She's a little temperamental.
I'll bring some vodka. She'll be happy.
By the way, Joe, when you're done watching the Civil War, there's a book that you should read.
Yeah.
It is called April 1865, The Month That Saved America by Jay Winnick, W-I-N-I-K. It goes through, because until I read the book, I didn't realize this. The South surrendered and Lincoln was assassinated in the same month. And when Lincoln was assassinated, there were parts of the South that still did not know that they had surrendered, which is why it was thought that there was a lot of fear that when Lincoln was assassinated, it was the South taking advantage of the surrender to do a huge counterattack. And when it goes through almost on a day-by-day basis, putting together all the pieces of the history, and I don't think I've ever read a historical book that is that riveting. When I first got it, I remember I read it in 2 days because I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. And it's kind of the perfect closeout to Ken Burns' Civil War documentary. So, highly recommended.
Cool. And that's all I'm geeking on.
Things I'm geeking on. First off, comic-wise.
Wait,
Daredevil
what happened to
number
Jin? Did you skip over her again? Wait, you're
she-
just a bastard.
Not according to Jin.
He's a goody
Jin.
two-shoes.
Yeah, goody two shoes.
Joe, stop singing.
Okay.
You realize, of course, that people are now going to think that I'm a decent, nice person and not, as Joe once called me, the most miserable son of a bitch on the planet.
You're not
But you
miserable
can come
at
to
all.
Fall Comic Con, October 10th, 2015, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds Education Building, and determine for yourself whether Cory is a very nice person or the most miserable son of a bitch in the Northern Hemisphere.
Joe.
What you're going to find out at FallCon
No, don't
is
spoil
that
it.
I am.
Spoilers.
No. I am and have been and always will be the best dressed man in comics. Someone thinks they could get the title. Someone thinks they could challenge me. Someone is going to learn that you shouldn't step in the ring with me. You shouldn't challenge me because I am.
Someone gonna get their ass kicked. Someone gonna get the butt rubbed.
Let me tell you something. I don't need a weapon. My vests are my weapon. Beat me if you can. Survive if I let you.
What did I just
Comic-wise.
hear? What was that?
Never mind. You were drunk. You didn't hear anything.
I heard something.
It's probably somebody in the back peeking through the window.
Daredevil number 18, the end of Mark Waid's run, came out. It wrapped it up wonderfully. I had a couple issues with the fact that so many things were wrapped up so tightly, so quickly. One thing I didn't realize is that with this issue, Mark Waid has now has had a longer run on Daredevil than anyone other than Stan Lee. He did 4 years with Chris Samney drawing most of it. Just a beautiful, beautiful run where he kind of brought back that feeling of Daredevil as the adventuring swashbuckler.
Swashbuckler?
Yes.
Swishy-washy.
Without getting rid of all the character work that's been done since by people like Frank Miller and Brian Michael Bendis and Ed Brubaker. And it actually deals with the fact that Matt Murdock has depression. Somebody's obviously getting all hopped up on goofballs. But it deals with the fact that he has depression. And then if you only read one issue, and I don't remember which issue it is, it was a single issue dealing with Daredevil's mother, which normally I hate the everything you know about blah, blah, blah character is wrong. But in this one it fit, because through the whole run of Daredevil, Matt Murdock has been told by his father, who was a boxer, that the reason his mother left and then became a nun was because his father was violent.
Whoa.
And we find out in this issue that his father had been lying to him. That his father took all the blame, and what it was, his mother had a severe case of postpartum depression and nearly killed Matt Murdock as a baby. And the shame of that made her run off and join the church and become a nun. And Wade did excellent work in researching postpartum depression, talking with psychiatrists, and also dealing with his own depression, bringing it into the book. So it's a comic that's not just superheroes, and it's not just action adventure stuff. He deals with some very serious stuff, and he deals with it in a mature adult way that is. It's one of those things where you can read the book and enjoy it, but you're going to come away from it understanding and learning more about people. I could not praise the run more. The last issue of the Silver Surfer, oh my God, Dan Slott and Michael Allred are just knocking it out of the park with this book. Every issue, when I get done with it, I just go, this is amazing. There's no way they could top this. There's no way they could do a better issue. And the next issue is even better. I absolutely love it. I don't think I have much more fun reading a comic book than when I read Silver Surfer. And then I finally sat down and read the first 3 issues of Jonathan Hickman's The Dying and the Dead, which is his Image book that he basically, after he got done writing Secret Wars, started writing on The Dying and the Dead. The Dying and the Dead uses the same sort of design stuff that he does. It's a very different story. Anything I tell you about it will spoil it. But go pick up that first issue of The Dying and the Dead if you liked his Avengers run, if you liked his Secret Warriors run, if you liked Secret Wars itself. Go pick up The Dying and the Dead. The art is fucking amazing. And the story is exactly what you would expect from Hickman. Beautifully told. It starts out simple and becomes more complicated as it goes and deals in many different levels. He's a comic creator who at the rate he is getting better, within 3-4 years, he's going to be one of those guys on the level of Grant Morrison and Alan Moore and people like that.
Grant Morrison?
Yes.
The guy from The Doors?
No, that's Jim Morrison.
Oh, okay.
Grant Morrison is the guy from The Invisibles, We Three, Final Crisis, DC 1 Million.
I don't know any of those things.
Speaking of The Invisibles, I found out something, Joe.
You can see them?
No, you can't.
Oh.
They're invisible.
Sorry.
We all know that The Invisibles is my favorite comic series, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
We all know that I read that series about every year or so because it's so amazing, and every time I read it, I get more out of it, right? Right. You know what I found out this week?
It isn't really hoarding if your stuff is cool?
No.
Oh.
That's not true. That's just what we say to make ourselves feel
It's
better.
definitely not true.
What it is, if you look at the credits, you'll see a colorist name. That's not the person who colored it. Our friend, Stephanie Kofel, is the person who colored it under her husband's name.
I like Stephanie. She's cool.
I now have a close personal friend who worked on my favorite comic ever. And when she told me, I said, you realize, of course, next time I see you, I'm going complete fanboy and you're going to have to sign all my trades. So that was very cool for me. And I was geeking on it for days at a time.
She's going to cook me dinner.
She's very good at that, too.
I'll believe it, except for the no mayonnaise thing.
Well, we're going to be bringing mayonnaise to her house.
I like mayonnaise.
And tartar sauce.
And tartar
right?
sauce, yes. I don't know, you're going to find a way to make it too fancy and ruin it. Just give me some fucking Miracle Whip and some tartar sauce from the fish place.
Miracle Whip.
Okay, that's not mayonnaise, but also I like mayonnaise. Cory, why do you have to make everything? Why do you have to try so hard? Can you stop being such a tryhard? Can I retroactively change my freaking to that? Why do you have to be such a tryhard?
Can you
just do something simple and do it well? Like, can you just like fucking make a piece of fish? You don't have to like mince it up and put some spices in there and mushrooms and God knows what else and make it taste like cat food.
Ooh, now I'm hungry.
So, next time I come over, you just want me to make you a tuna fish sandwich?
I can do that myself.
Okay, how about tuna croquettes?
No, see, there you go.
Tuna croquettes are not fancy.
They're fancy. I don't know what that word means.
Basically, you take the tuna and mix it with egg and breadcrumbs and
see, you've already
the
made
way
it too
God intended it to be.
You've already made it too complicated.
Yeah, Joe, can I change my freaking...
I want to watch Mad Max. Someone buy me a Blu-ray player.
Save it for next week.
Well, kids, believe it or not, we've talked about funny books for over an hour and a half.
We have?
Yeah.
Holy
crap.
crap.
I don't remember that. It's been almost 2 hours. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, you were sober part of it, so you might have remembered some of it.
Don't worry, in an hour you won't remember any of it, so that when you listen to the episode, you'll go, oh, wow, I don't remember this.
Yeah, I'm pretty funny.
It's why we have you on the show.
I know.
That and you're cute.
Yeah, whatever.
No, you're cuter than Joe.
That's not saying.
Yeah, whatever.
Fine, you two have a contest over who could be the most drunk and cute.
Okay.
And I'm going to let the listeners know that just like every other week, the comic we like the least, we still like better than the comic you like the most.
Wait. You didn't sneak in these guys.
Yeah, we did.
We did that while you were out getting more vodka.
Oh, well, never mind then.
Because you always complain about it.
Because it's dumb.
Well, yeah, but they pay the bills, unlike guys from the Midwest Comic Book Association. We're doing these all Comic-Con, October 10th, 2015, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Minnesota State Fairgrounds Education Building. And tickets are on sale now at their Facebook page. Go to www.mcbacomiccons.com for more information.
And as we say every week, kids, the comic we like the least, we still like better than the comic that you like the most. Jen?
What?
Do you have a goodbye yet?
You don't get to play my music, so I don't care. You only play Joe's music.
Well, what would be your music?
Well, I already told you. I'm not going to say it. It'll ruin the surprise.
I'm telling you, Cory, you just don't burn bridges. You just loosen the bolts a little each day.
Joe?
Sometimes I lay awake at night and ask, why me? Then a voice answers, nothing personal. Your name just happened to come up. Charles M. Schultz. Hit my music.